Hello, everybody. I'm Patrick Donnelly, director of the Frost Place Poetry Seminar. Welcome to the second evening of readings for the 2022 seminar. These readings are streamed live on the Frost Place Facebook page and will be archived there for viewing later. If you're looking for an online summer poetry conference where your work will get the focused attention of some of America's finest poet teachers, please check out the poetry seminar at frostplace.org. We'd love to have you join us next year. And now, please welcome faculty member Phillip B. Williams.
Hello, hello. Thank you for having me. I don't know why I'm nervous, but I am. Probably because I was talking for a long time with my phone on mute and I had no idea it was on mute. So now that that is over with, I'm going to read for about 25 minutes from my book Mutiny. The project of Mutiny was really about me trying to figure out if there's a way of finding new language for my own poetics. I had no idea how to revitalize images or tropes that I had fallen in love with, but I slowly fallen out of love with because of a way that I couldn't find that spark in those images anymore. So the deer, the crow, a lot of words and metaphors that for me just needed a new life, a new beginning. And so Mutiny, part of Mutiny's project is to figure out if there's a way to energize these words differently, to write odes about some of these words, to say goodbye to some of these images, these metaphors, all in the attempt to just make something new for myself in a way. So I'll be reading from the book, and I hope you enjoy. The Void. Our dog died in the ugly disaster that is aloneness. She died on the first floor in my sister's apartment when a makeshift pad shifted halfway out from under her. And I caught the center of her dying, the shake, the afterbit tongue swelling from her maw. My girl, good girl. She half died alone and finished with us there. My sister and I rubbed her side, and she shook and blinked, then blinked no more, but breathed a slow breath as I rubbed her head, then kissed her forehead. Even in death, she was mine to kiss. She was not ugly, much like the story of the boy from school who was shot in the head and lived to talk about it, and lived to hear us all talk about it. The hole that needed the help of others to close. And his neighbors around him looked into the hole in his head as if slowly realizing they'd all that time been unburying themselves. And I imagined the hole like a howl from a dog, like the diamonds in a chain link fence that let in sight but not the flesh. This is the end. Do not enter or take part in what little you've been allowed to see. Howl like a warning, howl like a plea. Do not pass. Do not step into the shape in which everything ever missing takes shape. The dead dog buried in the backyard, the contour of sorrow that is any boy's back, darkening, then disappearing altogether from the door, on his way to school, on his way back. But he must leave first. Everything must leave before it can come back. Even the trees lining the one-way streets flanked by liquor stores, bright as the mansions of devils. Even the trees must first catch fire, drop their fire, stand naked in penance as we rake their burnt garments to the gutter. Yes, Even wakefulness must go toward sleep, and sleep must wake. Even the body leaves, then returns as dirt, as a mind reeling into itself, a brittle recollection. Was our dog 13 or 14 when she died? When I kissed her forehead, was she already gone or still passing through? The last bit of her dying mixing with my sister's breath, the vet appointment of no use now. It's no use, howls the entrance wound. But they fixed up the boy who spoke another language for a short time, the trees bowing to hear him better, beyond their dancing boughs, in spite of their leaves that let in a little moth light, a little street light, so that gaps of leaf-shaped darkness gasped across his face, mouth-shaped leaves on his face, and they spoke back to the whole. We too leave. We all leave. Hush, you'll come back. Lazarus, concrete Christ, a memory, a haunting, a possession like an illness, like a bullet, like a dog's eyes staring back, then merely open, with no looking involved, like a boy's head babbling on. The form that the poems take that deal with images that I would like to have somehow revitalized for myself take on the title Final Poem 4, and I'll read a few of those poems now for you. Final poem for war during war. Questions for the war poem to host. Who among us could weave one ghost into another? Where find water hosted but in the tulip snapped back and tilted cup? How count the escaped speed by silt dragged from one ruin to another? Wilt sings the sky's day fabric unwoven into grayscale, as though night could coax from a star a paler face. But when night arrives on the felled back of a mule, winged on either side by baskets of water and rotten grapes, what verb is tasked with this weight? How many missiles cast their light above a child's gate? When do lions, banished to the hills, water their hunger, lie on their roars till the vultures pile on? How many ways can I write exile, having myself never been exiled? What is the face of exile besides the one hidden beneath the pyre of music pealing from a liar's head? Bless the maenads, that they retire only after this laughable poet is dead. Final poem for the field of poetry. In the grip of a nor'easter, you come bearing grief, have in pieces not come in peace. You arrive bladed with certainty. You slam shut the car door and smolder before the locked cabin, rough trip up the Hudson, as you distracted yourself with a list of flowers, awaiting deft penmanship to groom them tight and blow them clean. News of your brother's death intercepted your drive to this residency, fellowship among the crude Madonnas of empty mailboxes draped in robes of days-old ice. You have not written about the passing of family before, their antagonistic absences, intrusive their teeth, tombstones in the brave. Pill after pill to sleep, to create, to erase. You swallow and scratch into a notepad what the frozen earth refuses. Bougainvillea, lilac, burning bush, another close kin added to the Bible's kept obituaries. You hated your brother's left eye, unruly wanderer, settling away from you and observing a world you could not sense. Glossy ivory, glossy ivy in all its tenure, the tender fingers of Buckeye. The white page frozen before you like rhyme, you dig and discover what you already knew. Decaying kin, meandering roots catching his beautiful ankles. You were looking for a way out through beauty, but beauty only goes where needed. On the pad, you write, enough. What you've had, how much more of you there is, how much of you will be left when you're gone. Final poem for my father, misnamed in my mouth. Sunlight still holds you and gives your shapelessness to every room. By noon, the kitchen catches your hands, misshapen sun rays. The windows have your eyes. Taken from me, your body. I reorder my life with absence. You are everywhere now, where once I could not find you even in your own body. Death means everything has become possible. I've been told I have your ways. Your laughter haunts my mother from my throat. Everything is possible. Father light washes over the kitchen floor. I try to hold a bit of kindness for the dead and make of memory a sponge to wash your corpse. Your name is not addict or sir. This is not a dream. You died and were buried 3 times. Once after my birth, again against your hellos shedding into closing doors. Your face a mask I placed over my face. The final time, you beneath my feet. Was I buried with you then? I will not call what you had left anything other than gone and sweet perhaps. I am not your junior, but I fell in love with being your son. Now what? Possibility was a bird I once knew. It had one wing. Final poem for the bullet. When the bullets overhead ricocheted off the metal fence and junk cars gave gravestoning the junkyard, and when my uncle shouted for me and my friend to duck beneath the torrent of lead zip lining the air from an unseen source, and when screams scratched throats keenly till echoing the bullet din approaching no target with aim or intention precise enough to reach anyone but the innocent, and when my legs refused to unfold from beneath me to follow friend and uncle through the gangway of a neighbor's house, until being alone was more frightening than hot shells finding all the ways to smolder through. And when my brutal desire to live led me to safety, acquired in an alley where rat corpses perfumed away gun smoke, of which I'd grown nostalgic, and when laughter broke from our lungs, as if surviving didn't mean tomorrow's fury could second chance us toward alternative deaths. And when I look back within myself at the pleasure fear made possible, and when my 10-year-old breeziness degraded to, damn, we still here, we still alive. And the piss sprayed, Colt 45, crack pipe laden alley corroborated echoes of my voice in the climate of what tried to kill us. The weather itself cracking its neck into thunder until an hour's dismantling manifested a system of continuous reckoning with the possibilities of every broken bottle mirroring my prostrations, erotics. And if when I think back to that alley leading to an empty lot where a house of addictions once laughed from glassless windows, if I render this rememory to reclaim that bullet lost child, and if I find him glistening like a just born species, wearing the eyes of my mother and the lips of my father, holding a sword in one hand and a scale in the other, counting backward from 10, as when in the hollow of a nightmare, the nightmare's attendee suspects zeros, nothing, brings back the world the nightmare fed from, as if at the end of the end was a lesson, as if at the end of the end was a form. When I wrote that poem, I was surprised that I had, in many ways, forgotten that memory. And then it just it came back for some reason, and that's where the poem comes from. I don't even remember what grade I was in. Maybe fourth or fifth grade when the scenario that the poem takes after happened. It's strange how writing can bring back memories, right? Final poem as Nocturne into Obad, or Sunrise. I do not find Osun in somebody's son I sunned, while his gold fronts flashed a summer dress in the back of me, bucking to be ridden by his tongue, like his Virginian drawl was the first to get down my draws, like that, like that. Not everything masculine is mine, but I make him mine for modernity. 60-watt bulb spun mosaic by ceiling fan, and this bed creaks like a church pew, and it was Sunday when he came, so he, my Sunday man, though I prefer Thursday man's selflessness. Before returning to his lover, he balances sunlight on his tongue tip. He parts my legs to gift. My hairiest part yawns like a waking bear. Here's another short one. This isn't a final poem, but I think it's in good conversation with the previous poem, Hunter. When you were mine, though not mine permanent, when you were mine, though not mine at all permanently, just a body for loneliness, a loneliness interrupted, interruptive. The sky opened like a secret in a mouth, mouth with a word in it, word with an arrowhead in its flank. Love, small creature it was, crying in the night beneath me. I want to read, I think I'll do the entirety of this poem, Mushmouth's Maybe Crown. One, manacled man mangled, moreover made menace masked, maybe molded moribund, mostly manipulated, magnanimously marred, mired, mush-mouthed, moored, more. Manacled man meanly measured, man monkey mixed Miss murky mirrors. America's man, minstrel married, mop head, magnum man, mama's mine. Might munched, manacled man mimics martyr movements, moshes minus music, muses, murder made manifestations. My madness, my master. Two, my madness, my master. Many mistake my mood, manhandling my mode. Maybe me making minimalist mumblings means my matriculation, man-made monster, moves merrily, mystifying monogamy. Mainly me mime monsters, malicing municipalities, Me make maintainable moans, me menu, me metaphor, me madmen's monitored mission. Merchants masturbate midst my mouth, me might munch, make men mate amongst my molars. My mausoleum multiplies. 3. My mausoleum multiplies immemorial. Me misery, impossible emperor. And maybe me mid moonlight's improvisations. Me immediate, might's emissary. Mayhem maims my museum. Me improvise minutes, masticate memory. Mortuary mammal, mythic, melisma minded. Memory makes me meet myself, minus mink, mirth, magic. Myself's mess makes me member muzzle mincing mouth. Maybe murder make my mouth mine. 4. Maybe murder make my mouth mine. Me embellish mercy, mercy, mid-morning. Morning masquerades mercy, imposter. Mercy mouths impelled miracles. Miracles midwife my mind. My mind implies miracles, emancipating me. Impressive. Me embroider impeccable embellishments. Maybe murder make my mouth mine. Me impress embroidered emblems amongst my muscles. Me emaciated emergency, am embargoed myth. My embargoed myth, emaciated imagined emergencies. Implicated empty embraces. Emotions imitate monsters. Emotions must make music. Me, my monster, am mine, mine, mine. Implosive, me emperor, an imprecise empire. Maybe murder make my mouths mines. All those M's get slipped up. I should have done some lip trills before reading. It's one of my favorite poems to read, but you have to be ready to read it. I'm going to close with a poem called Shame. This is for my grandma, Elizabeth. It begins with a memory of feet, and above the swollen ankles of Grandma Elizabeth's leg, cartographic with varicose veins, bulbous and slurring beneath my fingertips, as I traced what I thought was the blue of sorrow lacing its way like an endless brook throughout her body, which was a body whose toes I had rubbed one at a time with lotion to the sound of her chewing on a peppermint or breathing slow and hard as I relieved whatever journey from beneath her feet, sour with duty and the power to make a walk from room to room and to a meal and game of checkers, where I learned that stacking 2 soldiers made a king, which would become useful later in life, as I found myself building lonesome towers with my body and another's, while we cataloged our grievances with the sharing of tongues. And here one desire usurps another, but I'll mend this memory toward honesty, for my grandmother's feet knew speed and precision when necessary, to run across the squeaking floor for a broom, to whack the shit out of me if I frightened her while she exited the bathroom, pausing right as she turned off the bathroom light and let her fingers linger on the knob just a bit, as though anticipating the boy me's hunger to hear her scream with a round soprano, "Stupid, you trying to kill me?" And here again, the truth stalls because beneath me on the first floor, where her room was a kingdom of perfumes, shawls, and jewelry, this woman up and died while I lay in bed on the second floor, right above her. And I was sure the chill I felt was either her passing through the floor, then through me, then through the roof and into the sky, where the morning sun was still cool, and from which chickadees dropped their small bodies into the grass for seeds to pulverize in trees. Or it was the angel of my thinking, unblanketing from me, my own innocence, knowing that my old lady went somewhere and left her body behind to be found by her children. And for a moment, I was closest to her, just a single story away, meaning the narrative that was the air itself crawling between my floorboards and her ceiling was the last thing we shared, and no one else can have that. And there, here in the dark, bathroom and the metal doorknob with her fingers placed on the chilly arc in the darkness is how she slowly unlocked me from myself, like the sun unlocked from my body its own shadow. And I hated myself for being so unwilling to let death do what death does and witness the final days of her hardly sipping water, her lying in bed alone and endlessly tired. And my selfish teenage self is here now, looking up from the cloud of this memory, shaking his head and swearing under his breath, swearing at me, even now, too shy or too absurd with shame to run from that old house into the distraction of maple tree seeds, whirly gigging their papery blades into the weeds and the white fluff of dandelions and into the street and scream something about it being too much and not knowing how to love then. So lay the fuck off me, man. Just lay the fuck off. So I must forgive him who is my earlier self, his avoiding that room, his avoiding her eyes yellowed by chemo, his avoiding her feet, and his now missing that cane tapping out the minutes of the day that now his later self holds in the highest regard. As I lie alone to sleep, listening to my downstairs neighbors make love in their softest voices. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh, bravo.